from Buenos Aires to New York. Robert Valencia is a political analyst and member of Conectas, which is a network of Latin American journalists. Great to have you with us, Robert. So first up, what's your sense about what this means for Venezuela, the events of the past 18 hours or so, and if you think we're about to have wholesale change in the country?
First of all, Nick, thank you so much for inviting me to your show. There's a lot of uncertainty, and this reminds me back to 2013 when Hugo Chavez passed away. I can understand Venezuelans' zeal, the zeal that this has spurred after the capture or the arrest of Nicolás Maduro. But this by no means will guarantee a swift change in democracy, unfortunately. I mean, there is no plan from the U.S. to a democratic transition. I mean, and it is very clear from what we have seen, especially from Pam Bondi, the attorney general, who said that Nicolás Maduro has been brought up under charges of drug trafficking, but there's no mention of any type of democratic transition. The same case with J.D. Vance, which recently wrote on Twitter that the United States has the right to reclaim stolen oil. And I think this is the dangerous part of this whole operation, is the lack of plan to help civil society organizations for a smooth transition. And it is clear to us in the past year how the United States has cut funds through USAID. The United States used to invest nearly $37 million for programs that point to that type of democratic transition. But with DOGE and the change, the complete change in the way the United States is being ruled, that money is non-existent for many programs through USAID. So it isn't clear how this is going to unfold. My fear, and I hope I can be wrong in this appreciation, is that the military will pose as the victim of a military incursion from the United States, which will pave the way for more repression against groups that do want to see a democratic change in Venezuela. That is my biggest concern. And I will wrap this point up. The charges that the United States have presented against Nicolás Maduro should create a cognitive dissonance within the U.S. public opinion. Because if Venezuela is accused of drug trafficking, how can the United States explain the pardoning of former Honduran president who actually ran a drug traffic, operation in the United States, and he has been pardoned? That's something that the United States should answer.
All right, Robert, we're at a fork in the road, aren't we? I want you to just hang on there, because with Maduro now in American custody, we have to ask the question of who will take power in Venezuela. And the Vice President, Delcy Rodriguez, is next in line, according to the Constitution. She may continue Maduro's policies if she becomes president. Rodriguez is a 56-year-old lawyer and has been vice president since the year 2018. And she served in ministerial roles under former President Hugo Chavez, but her career has risen along with Nicolás Maduro's. In the long term, the path could be open for Maria Corina Machado to return to Venezuelan politics. The opposition leader has supported Trump's policies towards Maduro. And in October, she was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for what the committee said was her tireless work promoting democratic rights for the people of Venezuela. And Maduro banned her, indeed, from running against him in 2024's election. And her chosen ally, Edmundo Gonzalez, stood but lost a widely disputed vote to Maduro. So that's a context of who might replace. Back to Robert Valencia, the political analyst and member of Conectas. So, Robert, what's your sense here? Because, the Trump administration was always talking about narcotics being the reason behind this, the assault on the boats, the drug boats alongside the coast, as they put it, of Venezuela, and now allegedly talking about the oil, suggesting that that's the real reason behind it, and indeed even talking about looking at Machado as a potential replacement.
Well, that proves the point that I was making earlier, is the lack of a plan for a democratic transition. Now, we might hear from Donald Trump in the next couple of minutes when he will address the nation at 11 a.m. from Mar-a-Lago, is what is next? If we had to, go back to U.S. history, we notice that when you remove a dictator, there are factions or warring factions in countries like Libya, you have Syria, you had the perfect case of Afghanistan, which required four administrations to withdraw from that territory. And now it's back to the Taliban, which was the origin of the invasion itself. Now, in the context of Venezuela, unlike Syria, Afghanistan, or Iraq, there are no different religious groups organized crime is not motivated by ideology. The mere motivation for these groups is just the economy, it's just money, it's just drug trafficking. So that is a difference. But a smooth transition, it remains to be seen. As you pointed out, they legitimately won the 2024 elections, but the Maduro regime did not budge. And now there's also reports that the Maduro administration was actually negotiating an exit with the Trump administration, which again poses the question as to why the United States would would invade Venezuela, not invade, but really enter Venezuelan soil and bomb those military bases.
Of course,
so
they've always argued
that
that Maduro was not a legally elected president and it was a fraudulent election and so on and so forth, the threat to the United States. So that's why they did it. I just want to move on, if I may, Robert, because we're just coming towards the end of our time.
Yes.
And look at the fight stateside, the impending trial of Nicolás Maduro, which, apart from anything else, will draw even more scrutiny on the attacks against those boats in the Caribbean Sea, which potentially could create problems for the Trump administration.
Indeed, and there have been already questions about the extrajudicial killings of the Trump administration on the Caribbean Sea against boats. There is there's actually a contention between Democrats and Republicans that are actually demanding answers to those attacks. Pete Hegseth in the past has said that they're not going to disclose any of these activities. They're not going to disclose videos that show that under international law, if said drug traffickers were surrendering, why did they kill them in the first place? Why some of them have been deported to their own countries? This is the first of many legal disputes in the United States, because obviously, as you know, these types of action require congressional approval, which the president did not seek. And it is true that other presidents in past administrations have pushed boundaries as to, with respect to attacks like that. Remember Bill Clinton when he attacked the pharmaceutical facility in Sudan in 1998 under false pretenses. So this is not something that is completely new, but it will certainly set a new fight in terms of what is legal and what is not.
Good to talk to you, Robert. Appreciate that and your analysis. Thanks very much, Robert Valencia, speaking to us there from New York. Thank you.